You know, a dragon dropping out of the sky really fits in with the way the rest of my week is gone. If you're new around here, I'm Hawk. Welcome to the hell that is my existence. I'm trying to raise money to go on this expedition with the dwarves, only things don't seem to be working out too well. Every time I think there's going to be a payday, something happens. Whether it's Templars fighting mages, mages fighting Templars, or a dragon dropping out of the sky. Now, we did have a strong suspicion that we were going to run into this kind of trouble. First, because this place is called the Bone Pit, and it's not named that because this is an educational place where kids can learn about fossils. And second, we rescued a miner before those dragons could munch on him, who let us know that there was probably a much bigger one waiting for us. But this is an opportunity to make some good money, and frankly, those have not been going very well lately, so we'll head in here, slay this dragon, and then be off to talk to the owner of the mine about this little dragon problem of his, and hopefully he'll actually pay up, because I'm really not in the mood to get stiffed again.
One of the miners told me you rescued him from dragons. I cuffed him for lying.
This is why I want to be rich, so I can just hit poor people with no repercussions.
Let us discuss your payment. You have been a great help. Since you did so much more than I was expecting, how about we work together? I am offering a 50-50 share in the mine. You will make us both rich if you can keep your countrymen safe.
Part of the mine would be mine? Huh. I like the sound of that. I'd say that sounds fine. They can go mine in the mine, and what's mine is mine. So first thing I'm going to have to do is talk to the miners and tell them to get back to work. Though I'm not as rich as this guy is yet, so I won't be able to hit them for no reason. Unfortunately, they're not keen to head back to a mine where they saw their friends being eaten alive.
I go back to the missus without this job. She'll rip me apart sure as any dragon.
What can we do? That bastard Hubert is the only one willing to hire us.
Yeah, it's not easy on us Ferelden refugees. Nobody looks out for us except us. Okay, what if we give you guys a raise to go back to work? Will you do it then?
Wow. Well,
And trust these teas, Jansen. Take it.
Why does doing the right thing always make me broke? Well, one good thing has come from this. My activity has gotten some attention, and I've now got job offers from both the Viscount and one of the Magisters. And they're politicians, so there's a fair chance that there will be some stealing involved.
A man I sentenced to a life in prison has escaped custody. He's been tracked to an abandoned ruin outside the city.
A request that should have been made of the guard.
Why is there such a clamor to catch this man? What has he done?
He's escaped. That's reason enough to catch him.
Well, you do have me there. Aveline had a valid point, and so the guy explains that he has sent the guards out there, but just to contain the area. Unfortunately, the prisoner has headed into a cave filled with all kinds of horrible creatures, and if the guards go in there, they're going to be slaughtered. Us, however, we're awesome. We can head in there and get the guy and bring him back out again. Assuming he's still alive, of course. I hope this isn't going to turn out like Jaws, where we have got to cut the belly open to see whether or not there's a person in there.
I'll take the job.
Bring the fugitive in alive, quickly and quietly. Not only will you be well paid, you'll have the gratitude of a city magistrate. Useful for a refugee, wouldn't you agree?
That's exactly what I was hoping he was going to say. There's a fair chance that there'll be some red tape involved in this expedition, so knowing that there's a magistrate in our corner is going to make us even more attractive partners to Bartrand. But we probably shouldn't be keeping the Viscount waiting.
So many to deal with one Qunari seems excessive.
He may be Tal the Shoth. The Winters leave nothing to chance. Get out of my bloody way.
Someone better call the Templars. Apparently an asshole demon has taken control of her. Yeah, the Winters are here for the same reason that we are. The Viscount's son is missing. He's hooked up with the Qunari right now. Now, the official story is that he was kidnapped, but the more likely explanation is that he went off with them voluntarily because he has a great deal of sympathy for the Qunari, because, young people are rebellious against their parents and often like to piss them off. This is actually a very politically complicated situation, though. The Viscount is naturally extremely concerned about his child and wants to do everything that he can to protect him. At the same time, though, he can't just send his guards out to go and take care of this because those guards work for the city. So any action that they're taking is on behalf of the city, ergo, it would be an official response to the situation as opposed to a personal response that hiring bounty hunters is. An official response would be extremely dicey because people aren't happy that the Qunari are here. The city has to tolerate them because they're trying to avoid an open confrontation with an army of giants. You can understand why. There's already clamoring to do something about them, and us Ferelden refugees too. We came across a pamphlet that talked about this invasion of Kirkwall that they want sorted out with the kind of rhetoric you'd expect to include building a wall, which, would do little because we've already got a wall around the city. I mean, the place is called Kirkwall, for crying out loud. So yeah, even though the practical thing under normal circumstances would be to send in the guards and quietly sort this out, the reality is it's actually far less damaging if they do this quietly with bounty hunters. We follow the trail, but unfortunately it looks like the Winters beat us to it. And unfortunately in my line of work there's no silver medal for second place. The kid is really cheesed off though because she slaughtered all of the Qunari to come and get him. And as she's dealing with that, we arrive, so she turns on us too. Pissed off because, well, we're alive. So, it seems that she's prepared to do something about that. Now, naturally, I disapprove, so we fight back and slaughter her and all the rest of her troops. Really, what chance did they have? I mean, there's me and all my awesomeness. Then there's the captain of the guard, the blood mage, and a dwarf who thinks it's 1978.
Oh, Andraste. I've never seen so many corpses. So much blood.
Yeah, you sound like a natural-born Qunari to me, who wants to help the prince here change himself. Once the Winters get tired of throwing bodies at us until we slaughter them all, we take the kid back, and that's when new trouble begins. He and the old man are fighting over what happened. Hawke decides to stay the hell out of that argument. On the one hand, we understand why Seamus wants to study this culture and mentions the aspects of it that he appreciates, and that's certainly nice to see that open-minded attitude. And it's not that his father is closed-minded so much as aware of the reality of the politics of the situation. The way the Qunari arrive and the way they conducted themselves has made a lot of people very suspect and uncomfortable. And so, if he's seen to be cozying up to them, he's just asking for the people to turn against him. So it's a really difficult position, and right now I don't want to wind up in the position where my head's between my legs kissing my ass goodbye. So with the Viscount's problem sorted, we can now deal with the magistrates. We find some guards waiting outside the cave, but we're interrupted by an angry elf who shows up.
The man you're after, he targets elves. He dragged my daughter into those ruins and killed her. I want him dead.
And I want to sleep in a bed where I'm not going to have to listen to muggings outside the window every night. But hey, you don't see me yelling at strangers, telling them to give it to me.
No. Don't you understand? If you take him in, he'll be free again by nightfall.
You've so little faith in the law.
Unfortunately, I think he has total confidence in the law. That's the problem.
For all my damn coin, I'm still only an elf to these Shemlin. There'll be no justice for my girl in the courts of Kirkwall.
Yeah, I sympathize, but I'm not the Punisher here, okay? I didn't show up to murder people. I was just told I had to retrieve somebody from this cave. Now, if you want to go in there and kill him yourself, hey, be my guest. But I'm not going to be guilted into murdering someone. It doesn't work that way. The cave is actually an entrance to a bunch of ancient ruins of some kind. But luckily for this guy, we find his daughter just inside. It seems the criminal just let her go for some reason or other. So while she's got a happy ending here, we've still got to go in and track that guy down. We have to fight our way past all manner of horrors. No wonder the guards didn't want to come in here. But finally we find him at the back of this place, and it's not quite what we expected.
From the magistrate's vague description, I expected a hardened criminal, not a whining coward.
He didn't tell you, did he? The magistrate is my father. He's tried so hard to keep me, and what I've done, hidden away.
I'm disgusted by the both of them.
Oh, I am too. Don't misunderstand. I know why the magistrate would protect his own son, and because the guy insists there's demons in their head, even though the circle says there isn't, it's pretty clear that he's got some kind of problem with him that it needs to be sorted and isn't being seen to. However, that doesn't mean I'm just going to kill him in cold blood. I have not killed anyone except in self-defense. Well, yeah, there was that one mage, but she tried to make me slice my throat. And once you've tried to kill me, then I'm justified in killing you. I have a case of delayed self-defense syndrome.
I'm not getting paid enough for this.
I can't stop. I've tried so many times. Please, you have to kill me. There's no other way. Just tell my father I'm sorry. For everything.
Let the courts sort this out.
It may end the same way, eventually.
No! I don't want to hurt anyone else. I'd rather die.
Well, then go kill yourself. See if I care. Why do I have to be the one to do it, huh? You don't peer pressure someone into murder. Come on, Hawk, come on. Are you too chicken to kill him, huh? Why is it that the criminal is the one with the greatest conscience around here? Yeah, that little red thing that popped up there, the thing that said rivalry, that's there to indicate when I do something that makes someone hates me a little bit more. So yeah, even the guard doesn't approve of me not killing someone. Anyway, we have to fight our way through more horrors before we finally get the guy who comes along peacefully. Not that anyone is going to appreciate my hard work, of course. Oh, no.
You let him live, even after what he did? I guess I shouldn't be surprised. You Shem stick together.
He's right here. Finish him off if you like. I doubt he'll put up much of a fight.
No, Papa!
I need to get my family out of Kirkwall. That's the only way we'll be safe from that monster.
Oh yeah, everybody's got an opinion on what I should be doing, but nobody else wants to actually lift a knife, huh? Enjoy your walk home there, Link.
I found your son.
Son? I don't know what you're talking about.
Is there another magistrate whose son murders children? What are the odds?
Yeah, I was under no illusions of how this was going to end, but he makes it clear that everything predicted is going to happen.
I am not going to lose my son because a handful of elves make up ridiculous stories.
It's not a made-up story, and I assure you, your secret won't last.
I won't talk, but he is known.
What? No, that's not what I was trying to say. Damn it. You're seeing here one of the problems with the BioWare conversation wheel that they've adopted here, taken from Mass Effect and used to great effect there, but it does have the occasional problem of making you think you're saying one thing when in reality you're saying something else. This is especially problematic in the next game because conversation options will come up and you think they mean one thing, but it's totally different. For instance, I thought I was giving someone an attaboy for doing a good job, and instead my response was basically, "Can I put my dick in you?" Anyway, thank goodness that I saved before I talked to this guy. I didn't know something like this was going to happen. It's just, well, I'll get to this soon. But let's try this conversation the right way. And by the right way, I mean saying that he can keep his money. Oh, why does doing the right thing cost me money? Maybe I should have killed that guy. No, I gotta stick to my guns here. Oh, poor metaphor, wasn't it? Well, look, I don't care how controversial this sounds. I think murder is wrong. There, I don't care if I'm outside the mainstream.
Here, miss. Word is you're looking for help. And paying well.
I need someone native to the dark places beneath Lowtown. If you claim as much, yes, I will pay.
I am. Let's just
Step into this alley, and me and my fellows can have a look at the money on offer.
Like I said, my anti-murder position is outside the mainstream.
Can you save someone so intent on being foolish?
Of course, while I still stand against murder, I am very much in favor of being given money, which this lady claims to have. So we come to her rescue, only to find out that this was a sort of trap, but not exactly. She was basically trying to draw in anyone who might come to the rescue of someone in need. She believed she was safe the whole time because there was a Templar here to protect her. Because, one Templar can take out an entire gang.
If this is criminal, I already have enough trouble.
I should think you're about to have more. I am Sister Patrice. This is my burden of charity.
Shiva Da.
Would even a Templar bind a mage like this?
You obviously haven't met the Templars, have you? Anyway, the big guy is why we're here. She liberated him from some Tal Shiak, the rebel Qunari, and she wants him delivered to freedom, rather than being turned over to the Arishok. She keeps insisting that this is a burden of mercy, but she cannot personally be involved in delivering him to freedom because of her connection to the Chantry. So she's here to offer us money in order to deliver him to freedom. Finally, a mission I can get behind. Getting lots of money for freeing a mage without having to kill Templars to do it. After fighting our way through some ruffians, we finally get outside, only to have a bunch of Qunari sent by the Arishok waiting for us. Seems there's a reason that he looks like he belongs in a Hellraiser movie.
He is bound and abused, and you want him caged. Why?
The power that he has, that all Cerebos have, draws from chaos and demons. They can never be in control.
So you fear them?
Just like everyone.
We leash Cerebos because they are dangerous and contagious.
Yep, even the Qunari. So, basically you've got mages ruling, like in the Tevinter, or mages as basically slaves, everywhere else. Once again, nothing but extremes.
I find it hard to believe that Merrill could be so threatening.
Thank you, Hawk. There's no need for such fear.
You are Cerebos? Boss Cerebos? Vashedan! Nera Setar Karasam! You spewed your words at me like a demon trying to poison my control. Like this mage, the Qun requires your death.
Geez, we just talked to you. Way to overreact. Imagine if one of us kicked him in the shin. The Qunari would probably declare war on the Free Marches. So we've got no choice but to kill all the Qunari. And that's why it's really important to stick with our no murder policy. And no, I'm not being sarcastic here. It's actually vital when you have to kill as many people as we do to make sure that everyone is in self-defense. Because if not, people are going to say, you're claiming 3,000 cases of self-defense. I don't know. I think you might be lying. So it's really good to not have anything that they can point to and say, I'm not so sure that they had that coming. This is the Free Marches and not Texas, remember. Needs killin' is not a valid defense. Anyway, by doing all this, we've managed to allow the Qunari mage to talk. But he's decided to go off and kill himself now. We do everything we can to try to talk him out of this. But in the end, he feels that this is the only choice available to him. And the fact that it is his choice is what gives him such satisfaction in it. I mean, well, look at the way he's dressed, for crying out loud. I hate to see this life go to waste, but at the same time, this is someone who has clearly lived his entire life only doing what he has been told to do and living in shackles. No matter how much I don't want to see him die, I can't see forcing him to not do the one thing that he wants to do is the answer. So we allow him to self-immolate, and all I can think right now is, why are all my jobs so incredibly shit lately? Well, it's pretty obvious what has happened here. The sister was not doing this out of the kindness of her heart. She wanted us to die. She wanted either the mage we were escorting or the Qunari outside to kill us, thus giving further proof that they're violent beasts that must be expelled at all costs.
The Chantry must see the Qunari as the monsters they are. If someone ushers that along, some sacrifices are justified.
Why is it that people who use the word sacrifice in this context are never actually giving anything up? You do know that sacrifice means that you've lost something, right? It's not sacrifice if you make somebody else do it. I mean, yeah, I'm a crook, but I'm not sanctimonious about it. I don't say sacrifices have to be made in order for me to buy some rum. Well, we've learned our lesson here. This is twice now where we've tried to work with those in authority, and twice we've taken it up the butt. So through our smuggling context, we get in touch with a guy who's been smuggling in lyrium. Lyrium is a special powder. It has many uses, usually to mages. However, it's also given to Templars in order to allow them to have the abilities to fight against mages. Because a sword and shield are all well and good, but if someone could turn you into a frog, that wouldn't be very useful then. Problem is, the Templars wind up getting addicted to the lyrium, and the Chantry controls the supply. So what you wind up with are a bunch of guys who are jonesing to have some lyrium, and the Chantry will only give it to them if they think they're ready. So yeah, it's not bad enough that they're normally hostile towards mages. Now you've turned them into drug addicts looking for a fix, and then put them in charge of mages. And it's a wonder things go badly. So yeah, anything we can do to mellow out the Templars, especially around here, is fine by me. So we agree to his job of going in there and retrieving the lost lyrium.
It's empty.
Waste of bloody time. Who put us up to this?
Well, that sucks. I mean, between the mine, the Viscount's bounty, and our habit of going through the pockets of people we've killed, and that's quite a lot, we've almost got enough in order to do the expedition. One more good payday is all we need, and now the stuff's not here. To make matters worse, there's a bunch of thugs outside waiting to kill us. Knowing my luck, they're assuming that I'm the one who stole their shit, and then returned to the scene of the crime. So we kill all of them too, and go through their pockets. Look, I'm just really trying to salvage this night, okay? We wind up finding out what's going on thanks to a chance encounter with another one of the ruffians on our way out of the district.
Lieutenant, I want everyone in the clearing, now!
Well, this is either very bad or very good. He might have zombies as his backup, or this guy could be dying from being killed by someone else. Someone hopefully more sympathetic.
You're going nowhere, slave!
I am not a slave.
This is Fenris, and he's a former slave of the Tevinter Imperium. Those markings were put on him by his mage master for some purpose, but he used that to help him escape, and now he's a wanted man. These guys are bounty hunters looking to turn him in. Now, I'm not above a little bounty hunting, but I'm not in the slave trade business either. So I'm just going to have to be very angry that there was no payday here. Especially when it looks like he's going through the guy's pockets. Hey, I had dibs on that. Oh, there's no money anyway. Well, if we're going to see any gold from this mission, we need to help him go and confront his former master. And look, I don't care at this point. Let's just get this over with so we can finally get on with our expedition. That I'm actually looking forward to. When it comes to Darkspawn, there's no politics, there's no moral questions. It's just, he deserves a knife in the face. So we accompany Fenris to this mansion where Daenerys might be waiting. We know that there's going to be all kinds of magical stuff going on here. We're talking mages, demons, abominations. This is going to be a hard fight. But luckily, we've got Surprise on our side.
Daenerys, show yourself.
Surprise. So we fight through the countless occult horrors that await us, only to find out that there is no Daenerys here. He's already fled. Fenris is pretty steamed, but there is an upside.
I assume Daenerys left valuables behind. Take them if you wish.
Oh, I do wish. I only wish I brought an ox cart with me. Fenris is willing to join our team, although there is a bit of friction because he's got strong feelings on mages. In his defense, coming from the Tevinter Imperium, I can understand that he hasn't had the best exposure to mages. However, just because I don't want to see mages dominating people, that doesn't mean I want them to be made slaves themselves either. There's a middle ground between the two, only nobody seems to want to see it. Everybody's intent on turning this into this huge us versus them, and all I want is some money and booze.
I'm not blind. I know magic has its uses, and there are undoubtedly mages with good intentions. But even the best-intentioned mage can fall prey to temptation, and then their power is a curse to inflict upon others.
Yeah, but the problem with that reasoning is that anybody with any form of power whatsoever fits the exact same description, whether it's political power, economic power, or physical power. You can't go around locking people up just because of what they might do. How about instead of mages ruling over everybody, or all being locked away where they're dominated by outsiders, that we train mages in using their power, teach them how to use it well, and then let them live their own lives as they see fit, huh? Like we do with everybody else. Not to mention that we're all living in a world where authority is being passed down through lineage. What right do you have to power just because you passed through the correct vagina? We allow them massive amounts of power, and what the hell training do they go through, huh? The only training they get is watching someone older than them use that power. This system is like saying that every mage should go to the Tevinter Imperium to learn how to use their magic and then come home. All I'm saying is that if we allow that kind of power to exist in this world anyway, then maybe we can hit that middle ground and teach people how to use their own powers responsibly. I mean, the political powers keep an eye on the Chantry, and the Chantry keeps its eye on the political powers. Why is it that mages can't be given a seat at the table, too?
I imagine I appear ungrateful.
Well, yeah, consider you just disparaged half my team here who risked their lives for you. You seem extremely ungrateful. I'd go work really hard if you want to get back into my good graces.
Here is all the coin I have, as Anso promised.
Welcome back to my good graces. For those of you who think that my integrity can be bought, I have just one thing to say to you. The name is spelled Hawke. Always leave the E on the end there or they won't let me cash the checks.
So, here's the thing. We need to find a way into the deep roads. Bartrand can lead us to the right place once we're down there, but we need a good entrance.
Makes sense. I mean, in the end, we are going in there to take stuff that doesn't belong to us. So really, this is just an extremely involved heist. But the same rules apply. Know your entrances and exits. So finding out how to get into the place is going to be a good first step. Come to think of it, it is the necessary first step. Varric thinks the best way to get that information is from a Grey Warden. And there are rumors that a Grey Warden is here doing healing for the Ferelden refugees. And so, as Ferelden refugees, we're in a good position to go and try to find him. It takes a bit of digging, but we finally discover that the Grey Warden in question is, in fact, Anders, the one from Awakenings who was always trying to escape from the tower. I've cured this woman. Now she's a young boy.
I have made this place a sanctum of healing and salvation. Why do you threaten it?
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to be so threatening. What with my weapons sheathed and my hands held out where they could be seen and moving very slowly, yeah. I must be a real terror, aren't I?
Did the Warden send you to bring me back? I'm not going. Those bastards made me get rid of my cat.
Varric, are we really sure this is our only hope?
I'm part of an expedition into the Deep Roads. Any information you have could save people's lives.
I will die a happy man if I never think about the blighted Deep Roads again. You can't imagine what I've come through to get here. I'm not interested. Although, a favor for a favor.
Sure, a little quid pro quo is fine, so long as it's nothing I'm going to regret. Well, not much anyway. God knows there's been so many things this week I've regretted already. As a mage, Anders naturally has sympathy for a friend of his who is stuck in the gallows and wants to see about rescuing him. I am, of course, sympathetic, and I need that map badly, so I'm willing to get reasonably involved. Nothing that's going to bring the Templars down on us, because I have Bethany to worry about. But if there's a way that I can help out, sure.
If you want my aid with your expedition, meet me in the Chantry tonight. I have sent word to Karl to be there. Maker willing, we will all leave free men.
You know most of my team are women, right? I just want to make sure that this isn't a magical plan of yours. None of our clothes will fit otherwise. Well, there's bad news. When we arrive, we find out that his friend has been made tranquil, and this whole thing has been a trap to catch Anders. Worse still is what follows after the Templars show up.
No!
You will never take another mage as you took him.
This is that moment when you're in a bar and your friend decides to take a swing at a member of a biker gang. It is the moment where you learn how fast you can truly run. Whatever Anders just did accidentally undoes the effects of being tranquil for just a few moments, allowing Carl to plead with him to kill him before he turns back into the way he was. Anders is so torn up he wants Hawk to make the decision, and yeah, I got into this job because I wanted to decide who lives and who dies. Well, I can't help but remember what that Qunari mage said when we allowed him to take his own life. Maybe it's only fair that we allow Carl the same thing. So Anders puts him out of his misery. So now that that's behind us, we can address what the fuck just happened.
When I was in Amaranthine, I met a spirit of justice who was trapped outside the Fade.
Yeah, our old buddy Abner Cadaver. I remember that, but his body was destroyed during that battle, and okay. Anders allowed the spirit to enter him the same way that spirit was allowed to enter Wynne. Okay. So we didn't lose our good friend Justice after all. The problem is, he's not quite so good anymore. As Anders explains, the spirits of the Fade, whether they're good or bad, represent aspects of human emotions. Justice obviously represented a virtue, whereas those like desire represented our more negative qualities. Well, the problem is that when Justice entered into Anders, all of Anders' hatred over the treatment of mages has perverted that emotion from justice into vengeance. So it looks like I'm going to the Deep Roads with Ghost Rider now.
Here. These are all the documents I have for this area.
Hey, with a ticket to riches, you can have anything you want in your head, Mr. Crazy Man. Anders is the source of another problem, though. Much like the last game, you can romance some of your companions. A point arrives where you can basically make this romance official or not. It's not exclusive either, it just means that you are now romancing this character. You can also, at certain points after that, decide to just end it for good. This breaks their heart, of course, and adds a great deal of friction, but you can understand, given all that the two of you have built up in this relationship, to just see it get thrown away will be upsetting. Well, here's where the problem begins. Someone at BioWare got the bright idea that it's unrealistic for the player character to be the only one instigating these relationships. Now, that is a valid point, but there's a certain amount of realism that has to be sacrificed in order to not inconvenience the player themselves. It is unrealistic that Hawk doesn't have to stop and use the bathroom every now and then. And yet I think we're all fine with that lack of realism, right? So what this realism injects in the game is that instead of you having the option to instigate a romance with Anders, instead, Anders decides whether or not he's going to instigate a romance with you. By the way, being a male character would have no impact on this because all the characters are bisexual, so Anders can hit on you either way. This is something Electronic Arts used, by the way, to try to defend themselves when they were made the worst company in America. Oh, it's just because we're so progressive that the homophobes can't handle it, as opposed to we're a horrible company. But no, I'm just bringing it up because I want you to know there's no way around this. The only way to get Anders to not hate you after this is if he hates you before you talk to him. Anyway, there's a couple of problems with this. First of all, the moment that Anders offers it, you are now in a relationship as far as the game is concerned, even though you haven't done a damn thing. So your choices here then are enjoy the romance, or break his heart. And you don't let him down gently either. There's no polite way of declining. which is why what I said in the previous game about it. Your choices are basically be gay or slam the gay guy who came on to you. There's no middle ground. But then again, what do you expect from Dragon Age 2? There's no subtitle because everybody's too busy fighting over what it should be. So they program the game to have a character come on to you, and then you can only respond angrily if you don't want them to. And then Anders takes offense at that.
I don't want you thinking about me that way.
Everyone wants to control my thoughts. Fine. I hear you. Strictly professional.
Yeah, so now he's moody. And it doesn't even stop here. The thing about Anders is, he's a pervert. Now, I'm no saint. I couldn't help but notice how large the boobs were on that priest, the one who called us in off the street with the Qunari mage. But yet, I didn't turn to somebody and say, hey, check out the tits on that nun, whereas Anders has no sense of decorum whatsoever. We haven't even left this level yet, and he's already demonstrating it. Listen to the way he talks to Aveline about her dead husband.
Are they all as dirty as they seem?
What?
Did he ever ask you to play the naughty mage and the hapless recruit? Maybe the secret desire demon and the upstanding knight?
That's disgusting.
I hear it's quite popular.
Yeah, so he makes unwanted advances on me, gets all bent out of shape if I refuses to reciprocate that towards him, and then before we even reach the door, starts making lewd comments to this woman about the sex life she has with her dead husband. What the hell, BioWare? In your effort to show your progressive nature, you decided to send us into the deep roads with Harvey Weinstein. Nice fucking job, assholes. So, we've got the money, we've got the maps. Now it's just time to meet our new partner. I'm sure he'll be glad to know that we've straightened everything out.
If you see that sodding bastard, bring him here. I want to hear exactly what he's promised, right from his lying mouth.
I could tell this is going to be a fun trip. On our way to go back and get Varric, because we can't just swap the companion out, we got to go to a certain specific place in order to do it, which means a number of load screens. Thank you for that. But on our way, we happen to come across an unexpected sight. Bodan and Sandal, the dwarves who were in the camp selling stuff to Tim.
Sandal? Hello. We shall be accompanying your expedition and providing the needed supplies. It's all quite exciting, isn't it?
The thought of adventure does make me giddy.
A kindred soul, surely. But I digress. Do you wish to peruse my wares?
No thanks, I'm from Lothering and I know how you get your stuff. I don't want to buy my own things back from you. So we go and pick up Varric so he can explain things to his brother.
Partner? You stupid nug-humping dirt farmer. Why did you go promising something like that?
Because if we don't get this expedition moving, brother, then we won't have any profits to argue about, will we?
Maybe you have a point.
Weeks stuck in the deep roads with this guy. There better be a shit ton of gold down there. So how big is this operation anyway? I mean, my contribution is going to be a blood mage and an abomination who's also a deviant. He's also a healer, which is great because if he winds up grabbing my ass, I can break his arm and know that it won't endanger the mission.
We're going lower into the deep roads than anyone's ever dared. Who knows what we'll find down there?
It's got to be deep. We haven't even left yet and we've already lost the Wi-Fi.
We've chosen one of the hidden entrances. The deep roads there will be nice and virginal, ready for a good deflowering. Ha!
Now there's an interesting image.
At least I can be sure that he's got Anders' attention finally. Well, there's an interruption. Mom swings by. She's upset that Bethany and I are both planning on going on this expedition. And I can understand her reluctance. She's already lost her husband and one of her children. If she lost the rest of her family, that would just leave our sleazy uncle, and And I can't just do that to her. So I tell Bethany that she's going to have to sit this one out. I'll go down to the Deep Roads. That way, if the worst happens and I don't come back, at least Mom will have Bethany.
Personal drama over with?
Oh, cram it, Pee-wee, or I'll light your beard on fire. Eventually, we run into some trouble and have to scout out a new way to get around some debris. And also, we have to go and rescue Sandal, who has wandered off.
I don't believe it. Are you responsible for all this?
Boom.
And how did you do that?
Not enchantment.
Smart boy.
My rock is ticking. Are rocks supposed to tick? Well, after our scouting, we finally get to our destination, which is someplace that's even better than an old Tig. It's something definitely full of rich stuff. Oh, I'd say to pinch me so I know I'm not dreaming, but I know Anders is just waiting for the excuse. Further inside, past a horde of monsters, we finally find something that looks like treasure.
Is that lyrium?
It's definitely magic. And not the good kind.
Well, that is odd. Dwarves aren't magical beings, so why is this thing magical if it's a dwarven idol of some kind? We're going to have to think long and hard about this.
The door!
And it looks like we're going to have a lot of time to do that thinking. Well, that's just dandy. Sure did get my 50 sovereigns worth out of this trip, didn't I? Sure am glad I spent all that time busting my ass, humiliating myself, doing all those jobs, so I could die down here. I am seriously starting to reconsider my position on murder. So, with that way out, we've got no choice but to try to find our own way, past the Darkspawn, the golems, and some hideous thing called a profane, which is very appropriate because I feel like using a lot of profanity right now.
Enough. You have proven your mettle. I would not see these creatures harmed without need.
Yeah, you look like a real champion of peace there, buddy. Anders quickly figures out that we're dealing with a demon here. A demon that is feeding off of the hunger of these creatures. That's why he doesn't want us killing them, because we're killing off his livestock, essentially. He says that if we do a task for him, he will tell us where there is a key in order to get out of this place. But that task involves going to kill something. I don't know what that something is, but odds are pretty good it's one of two things. It's something nice, and so has been able to resist him, or it's something so powerful that even this guy can't stop it. Either way, I don't want to do that. And of course, he refuses to take no for an answer, so we wind up in a fight with him too.
What is this place?
This is the vault. The dwarves would have brought there.
Well, shit. I think we just found the thing that other monster wanted us to kill. And we're going to have to kill it anyway. Alright, well, it's just a demon fused with rocks. How hard can it be? Okay, that's bad. Yeah, red is usually bad, yeah. So while Hawk is sleeping it off, Aveline goes in to bang on it some more, and then apparently wake Hawk up so she can get the big kill shot in. Yeah, I was a badass and definitely not splayed out on the ground unconscious. But Varric's right, we do find the vault and it's filled with treasure. More treasure than most people could imagine. I, however, am not most people, so it's almost enough. We also find the way out. It'll only take about a week or so to get to the surface. Oh yeah, so much for that realism, by the way, huh? A week with absolutely no supplies in the deep roads. Yeah, we were just fine. That's realism. So we arrive back safe and sound with tons of treasure. What could possibly ruin that? Templars. They found Bethany and are taking her off to the circle. Naturally, I try stopping them, but Bethany steps in and says not to. It'll just make things worse.
Consider yourselves fortunate.
Her cooperation allows us to spare you the punishment for harboring a dangerous mage. This once.
Consider yourself fortunate. Her cooperation is the only reason you don't have a knife in your eye.
Look after her.
All right, that's it. I'm not going to just stand here. There is nothing can stop me from going through that door. Nothing, unless the game locks up again. Let me take a moment to tell you a bit of a story here. It'll link back up with our tale, don't worry. At the dawn of the 21st century, Sony's PlayStation 2 was the dominant console on the market. But Microsoft threw its hat in the ring with the Xbox. It addressed some of the deficiencies of the PS2 as you compared it to a PC. The Xbox had a hard drive, it had Xbox Live, which is a means of playing online, which thanks to Halo brought the experience of first-person shooter player versus player to those who were outside of the PC gaming community. This was a huge leap over the PS2, and yet the Xbox still got its ass kicked. Because the Xbox original looks like a machine designed by an engineer. It's ugly as sin. So Microsoft decided to correct the problem by A, beating the PS3 to the market, and B, trying to make the new Xbox not look like shit. In an effort to do B, the console's exterior was designed by marketing, and it was up to the engineers to then put everything inside of it once that was done. Now that's already daunting, so factor in A, and that means they had no time to test how well this was going to work once they filled it with all the parts needed. To make a long story short, the result was the infamous Red Ring of Death, where 3 of the 4 lights would come on the front of the Xbox 360 to indicate a general hardware failure. I got my first Xbox in December of 2005, and when April came around, yeah, I got my Red Ring of Death. Didn't happen all at once. It would just lock up, and I'd turn it off and leave it and come back later, and it would work fine. Until one day it just stopped working, and I had to send it in to get replaced. Well, this brings us to Peter Moore. Peter Moore was the guy who tried to rise to the defense of Electronic Arts, discovering that it's really hard to defend the indefensible. Anyway, he was not only at EA during the time when Dragon Age 2 was being rushed through production, he also, before he came to work there, worked at Microsoft on the Xbox 360, a product which was rushed through development. Now, what does that have to do with anything? Oh, only the fact that it's really annoying to play a game rushed through development on a system rushed through development, because it seems the game just keeps locking up all the time. No.
They're here! The Templars have come to take...
No. No. Oh, come on, while reading a letter?
Is she settling in all right with the...
Ah, screw this.
All hail the Overlord! All hail the Overlord!